All right, and this is an India Today exclusive. Expose Pakistan Operation Sindoor retreat at sea. First camera, how Pakistan Navy collapsed. And warships prowling Pakistan waters, the Navy's pullback with tail between their legs. Well, at the peak of the conflict, Pakistan Navy went into complete hiding. The warships took refuge near the Iran border. Caught on satellite camera, Pakistan Navy that hid in the terminals is what we are learning. This is an India Today exclusive, telling our viewers about new commercial satellite imagery which has been analyzed, showing Pakistan Navy warships dispersing to commercial docks while others to refuge at its western port of Gwadar, close to the Iranian border. I'm going straight across to my colleague Ankit for more details on that story at this point in time. Ankit, break this down for us.
Well, Sneha, during the fog of war, a lot of things get lost. We have seen for past several months now, past 3 months now, that Pakistan has been utilizing this fog of war to broadcast its own narrative. The narrative from Rawalpindi, from Islamabad is that Pakistan gave a proper, strong reply to India. And what happens, because war and conflict is such a fluid situation, there is very little evidence to establish who did what. For the first time on TV, Sneha, we are bringing the pictures which will end this debate for all. Now, this overview, before we go to the satellite pictures, this overview shows where Karachi is, where India is, and where this point, this Gwadar port is. Remember, roughly 100 kilometers away from the Iranian border. This yellow line is the Pakistan-Iran border. So right behind this border is the Gwadar port. Now the visuals that we are going to show you for the first time on TV will establish how at the height, at the peak of Operation Sindoor, the leading warships of Pakistan Navy were sent from Karachi to Gwadar. Warships, which were supposed to be either here or in these waters, Neha, were sent from Karachi to Gwadar, Sirshasan, if you say, upside down pose by the Pakistan Navy during the height, the peak of Operation Sindoor. Now, this is the first image. This shows the Karachi port, but it also has one more detail. You see this part. This is the naval dockyard of Pakistan Navy. Pakistani warships are supposed to be here. What you see on 8th of May, 2 days after India launched the strikes on Pakistan terror network, you see 3 Pakistani warships stationed at a commercial cargo port. This is a commercial cargo port where Pakistani Navy has taken shelter. And these are not alone. Although there is a bit of a cloud coverage here, you can see one more Pakistani Navy frigate stationed at this terminal, which is not a Navy dockyard. Navy dockyard is separate. You see all these containers. This warship has taken shelter at the commercial port of Karachi. We will discuss these pictures in more details, but let's go back to these pictures. Now, this is Gwadar port, very close, roughly 100 kilometers away from Iran border. And this port is jam-packed on May 10th, jam-packed with at least 7 Pakistani warships. Now, these are not just any other warships. We have Pakistani Navy's Zulfiqar-class frigates. Why is that important? Because Pakistan has only 4 of them. These are China-made frigates. And remember, exactly 6 months before Operation Sindoor began, Pakistan Navy released a video. They showed an anti-ship missile firing from this particular class of frigates. Now, come May 10th, when these ships were needed, they were sent to the backward position, very close to the Iranian boundary at the Gwadar port. These two ships, these two vessels are Pakistan Navy's Tughril-class frigates. Again, based on Chinese technology, but these are the largest that the Pakistan Navy has. And these two, again, Pakistan has 4 of them. 50% of their Tughril-class frigates are stationed here. They should have been in the waters, but no. They are taking reviews at a commercial naval port. This is a very special ship. This is Oliver Perry-class frigate. This was gifted by the USA to Pakistan. What has happened is that between May 8th and May 10th, this has traveled all the way from Karachi in east to Gwadar in west. So this is the U-turn which has been finally established how Pakistani Navy responded to the Indian movement in the waters. Now we will once again show you what was happening at Karachi. You see this part. This is Pakistan Naval Dockyard, which lies vacant. The warships are supposed to be here, not here, not here, not here. But the warships has taken shelter at the commercial port. And because of the cloud cover, we cannot see all of the warships, but we can at least see 4 different warships at Karachi. Here is another. This is frigate at the container terminal. Now this is in line, Sneha. This is in line with Indian government stand that Pakistan used this tactic, if you remember, also in the air. Their air operations relied on the cover of a lot of commercial aircrafts. A lot of firing that happened, a lot of drone movements happened during operation from Pakistan side while there was commercial aircrafts in the air. Now this is the Navy version. For the first time we have visual evidence. We have visual evidence to establish this retreat, this on-camera retreat by the Pakistani military. The warships, the leading warship that Pakistan was supposed to be deploying at the front or at least in the waters, they are either taking shelters at commercial cargo terminals or they have traveled hundreds of kilometers back, very close to the Iranian border in the west, not in the east. Sneha.
All right. You know, what I also want to ask you, Ankit, is because at this time I recall very, very well that Pakistan's leadership was actually responding with talk of, strong retaliation and all of that. But these satellite pictures of Karachi and the Gwadar ports, really analyzed by all of you, just show a very, very different story, isn't it? Talking about how it really, there was in fact establishing a far more defensive sort of a naval posture on the part of Pakistan during Operation Sindoor, very different from what they claimed.
50 years, Neha, if there is one field where Pakistan has really outsmarted India, it is the field of narrative setting, creating this fog of disinformation, letting the entire nation to believe that something else has happened while the reality is entirely different. Now, you will not see these pictures making their way to Pakistani social media or Pakistani mainstream media for that matter. What is more unfortunate is, during past 100 days, we have seen a lot of reporting by supposed Western publications, the international publications which operate either from Europe or US. Unfortunately, even these kind of evidences do not end up being part of their reporting. But for the first time, again, this is commercially obtained satellite pictures, Neha. So anybody can go and buy these pictures. But what they show is, this is not supplied by the government, this is not supplied by the Indian military. These commercially obtained satellite pictures show the definitive movement of Pakistani Navy, the posture of Pakistani Navy. It was not forward moving. They were not looking to tackle the Indian Navy. And the reason is this. This map has been compiled by an OSINT expert, Damien Simon. This is based on the data or the claims made by the Pakistani Navy. Now, what it shows the position of INS Vikrant. Pakistani Navy, in their own words, claimed that they have been tracking the movement of INS Vikrant. And because INS Vikrant was roaming in these waters, for some reason, they decided to put their warships at Karachi, at Gwadar. What it does is, Karachi, because there's a, see, remember, 60% of Pakistan's business cargoes, they come from Karachi port. So hiding behind commercial vessels, maybe third country vessels, if India attacked, they could have taken a cover. That, remember, India did an aggressive act on some kind of commercial ships. But what they have been doing was they were hiding these warships at cargo terminals, at commercial terminals, and rest of the warships were sent to Gwadar, which was, remember, developed as a commercial port. It is a cornerstone, or the supposed cornerstone, of the China-Pakistan economic corridor. This was supposed to be a commercial port, no longer. During Operation Sindoor, we have seen that this Gwadar port provided a naval shelter. So Gwadar, from now on, will be considered as a legitimate naval target during the times of conflict. There is enough evidence to show. And this is Karachi. I will once again show this picture. Remember, 50% of Tughril-class frigates, 50% of Pakistan's Zulfiqar-class frigates, they are leading frigates. They are not at Karachi, not at forward locations. They are at backward locations in Gwadar, not in international waters, not challenging the Indian Navy. Sneha.
Challenging the Indian Navy, weak surveillance, failure to track threats, and low morale. I think this, in a way, really sums up the story of the Pakistan Navy during in the peak of Operation Sindoor, isn't it, Ankit?
That's right, Sneha. See, what has happened during Operation Sindoor is a lot of activity was about Air Force. Very difficult to establish what has happened in air operations. Remember, we have seen 3 phases of Operation Sindoor. In first phase, we showed using satellite pictures that at least 9 terror centers, including the HQ of Jaish-e-Mohammed, the HQ of Lashkar-e-Toiba in Murid, and several other, terror hotspots in POK, in Pakistan, they were decisively hit. They were hit with 100% precision. In step 2, we used satellite pictures to show that the Pakistani air bases, their runway, their hangars, they have been kind of they have suffered a definitive losses during Operation Sindoor. But for the first time, because the very nature of Navy is that it moves quite slow, the scope for commercial satellite pictures to get a picture of what was happening is that much higher. And that is why this posture, this retreat, this runaway Navy movement on part of Pakistani Navy has been captured. And this is undoubtedly the picture that defines Pakistani Navy tactics. Tactics number 1, send your warships away from the naval dockyard, send them right where the cargo ships are, few meters away, and if India hits one of these, start crying, because the commercial container will also be hit. So this is Pakistan strategy number 1. Pakistan strategy number 2 is send your warships from Karachi, and that includes submarine as well. Send your warships from Karachi to Gwadar. The Indian, the Indian side is in east, but send your entire fleet, or at least a portion of your fleet, to west. Now, how does it look like? This is how it look like. You have Pakistan Maritime Security Agency's MPVs lined up, inactive. You have Tughril-class frigates lined up, inactive, and then you have Zulfiqar-class frigates. These frigates were designed to take stand against supposed aggression of Indian Navy, in the words of Pakistani DGP, ISPR. But if you believe these pictures, and there is no reason not to believe, because these are neutral, independent, commercially obtained satellite pictures, the Pakistani Navy was in a surrender mode at the height of conflict between India and Pakistan between May 7th and May 10th earlier this year.
All right, I'm going to leave it there for the moment. Ankit Kumar getting asked those big, important details as far as Operation Sindoor is concerned. Like I said earlier, speaks volumes of the fact that Pakistan was extremely nervous. The Navy was unprepared, was in fact clearly on the back foot, like Ankit here is telling us, as far as the satellite imagery access by India today is concerned, giving an indication how at the peak of the conflict, Pakistan Navy warships were shifted out of the naval dockyard at Karachi, docked at commercial terminals, is what satellite pictures essentially show. Some of them, in fact, took refuge at the western port of Gwadar. instead of sailing towards India.